I just thought it's good to get it in the calendar.
Yeah, I don't know where people are from. So I know that Arun is from India. You are from Boston. One other person is from Eastern Time, at least. I don't know where Matthew is from. Darko is from. Yes, Darko and Matthew. So Darko, he's got a full-time job and is on Eastern Time. I just want to have some kind of spot that fits everyone. Oh, and we are live. Cool.
Yes.
Nice. Right. So welcome everybody to our first Scrum meeting for Rundfunk MITBESTIMMEN. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Scrum meetings go like that. All the participants say what did they do, what are they going to do, and where are the blockers. So I would just say, well, I will start. So I was since last week. I wasn't available on the weekend and last week, so I couldn't work on it a lot. However, Katerina and I, we met yesterday with a lady who's doing kind of consulting for open source projects, and it was we're considering whether we want to create an organization, a legal entity in Germany, and how that would look like. Because if do we want to have non-profit? Do we want to create a non-profit organization? Because I would favor non-profit organizations. However, this lady told us that if we want to apply for seed funding, most or 99% of all the seed funding goes only to for-profit organizations, which is well, we have to consider it. And from yesterday, we didn't have a lot of results, honestly. So Katarina and I, we agreed on not to do anything unless we have a specific response from a broadcasting corporation, for example, like something like, we want to support you. So that was what I was doing since last time. I am going to do, I will probably work on data visualizations. So I would probably like to work on so-called coordinated multiple views. That is, you have two views. In our case, it would be the geographical visualization and another view next to it. And you can, for example, click on a region in Germany and see more statistics based on the users from that area. Yeah, so there are no blockers for me. Yeah, and that's basically it from my side. How about you, Matt?
Great. Let's see. I'm kind of working on my own little project with Agile Ventures, mostly getting Jitsi into the website, or we're thinking of making it into a microservice where all the events are managed from a different service. So I'm just doing research on that mostly, but it's going well.
Yeah, you're working on Ember add-on, right?
What's that?
You have been working on an Ember add-on.
Oh yes, exactly. I might do an add-on. It could be interesting because I could see other people potentially using it rather than going through the pain of figuring out the Jitsi Meet API. They could just plug this add-on in and pass it the right initialization.
Just out of curiosity, this add-on would be a button, and I can click on that whenever there is a Jitsi meeting. Is that right?
Well, I'm not sure. It could just be what they have is you just place this component on the screen, and it's an actual Jitsi meeting on your screen.
Oh,
that's
nice.
The way it works now. So that's kind of what I was planning. But I could do a button also. I don't know if you can have more than one component in an add-on, or?
I would say the video would be great to have. I would love that. So you visit the site, and
Right.
if you're at the right time, the currently ongoing video of the Jitsi conference is just there.
It's just there. You don't. There's none of this joining, and that's kind of what I'm imagining. Yeah.
On the other hand, consider that if you use this did insert element, have you heard about Ember Fast Boot?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, so Ember is a single page application and runs in the browser. And this did insert element hook runs in the browser and will be active as soon as the HTML is rendered.
Right.
And yeah, that's perfectly fine, works. However, what is about browsers who don't have JavaScript?
Oh.
And also, for example, bots like Google crawlers and so on. So Ember Fastboot is a pretty sophisticated technology that also allows to render the HTML on the server.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you have a browser, and if the browser is able to run JavaScript, you will get the entire Ember app, and that will be executed on the browser locally. If you're not a browser if you're a browser who cannot execute JavaScript, you will get pre-rendered HTML.
Okay.
And also that helps to shrink the boot up time, because the Ember app takes over on normal browsers like your browser. The Ember app takes over as soon as all the content is loaded. So you first get the HTML, and parallel to that, you get the entire Ember app. Maybe you have witnessed or maybe you have recognized the white screen if you visit rundfunkmitbestimmen.de. The very first, the initial 5 seconds or so, you see a white screen. That's because the Ember app has to load.
Oh, but Fastboot avoids that.
Exactly. So Fastboot has several advantages: search engine optimization, non-JavaScript browsers, boot up time, but it makes it a lot more complicated because you have to consider the server side and the client side. Right. Just to make you aware of it, because I know that did insert element is something that is not Fastboot compliant.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Our other option is just to add it right into the Rails, to upgrade to Rails 5 and add it in.
I have no idea. I've never worked with Fastboot because so far it was too complicated. It would be a nice thing to have in the future, though.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks. So in addition to that, I probably do have time to look at maybe something small on your project. So typically in these weekly meetings, we also go through the board if you want. I mean, it's, actually the structure of this is up to you as the project manager. So if you want to just leave it with updates, or usually we go through just like for the AV website, we just go through and see if anybody wants to take any tickets.
Yes.
And sometimes we go through the in progress, but it's kind of an informal review of the board.
Yes.
You want to do that now, or do you want to?
Yes, I would like to do that. So who's going to share
if you want to share your screen with the...
Yeah, okay. There we go. So Going through the board. Milestones, priority queue. Ah, yeah. So when I did the introduction with Arun, I suggested that he would, for example, work on that particular user story here. So many users requested that you see the details of a broadcast on that page here. So this is the list of selected broadcasts. It's a list of supported broadcasts. It's called My Broadcast. Oh no, I have to log in again. So you go on My Broadcast, and people requested that I want to click on the title, for example, and see all the metadata, like description, TV or radio station, medium, and so on. And that would be a great feature. It would be a great use case for an Amber component. So yeah, I think Arun wanted to work on that.
Oh, good.
And apart from that, is the requirement clear? Did that make sense?
Yes, to me it did.
Cool. And there's another new user story, which is this one. I would also consider that to be a very important one. So this is a mere back-end task. There's no front-end involved. It is about this visualization here. I should actually provide a screenshot. So this is a diagram or a visualization of expected versus actual value. The blue one is the actual value. So we have TV and radio station on the left side. Okay. These are German TV and radio stations. For example, that's the first TV channel. And we can then take all broadcasts and sum up all the allocated amounts. Does it make sense?
Yes.
And that would be the blue bar here. Amounts based on voting. So this is all amounts that are connected with this TV station, summed up, the actual amounts. Okay.
Okay.
And the black bar here is the expected value. So blue, if the blue bar is longer than the black bar, then this is supposed to be good. And the black one is just, okay, we know some stations do have more broadcasts in the database, and we just pretend that every broadcast gets the same amount. Like we take all the entire distribution and just divide it with number of broadcasts. And that would be the expected amount for every broadcast. So yeah, the longer the black bar, the more broadcast a station has in the database. It's just that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, and we just take that for comparison. So apparently many people are there, some broadcasts that many people enjoyed or like or find it's worth to support. So the blue bar here is yeah, a lot longer than the black one. Same thing here. So Arte is a very artsy TV station. Yeah, they make a lot of cultural and educational stuff. And also people like that one as well. And the point here is that I thought it's actually unfair to compare to calculate the black bar just by allocating the same amount to every broadcast. Because if you add a new broadcast here, let's say this broadcast does not exist. So I can actually add a new broadcast here. So if a new broadcast was recently added to the database, it didn't have the chance for people to be visible to collect the votes because it is just so new. Does that make sense?
Yes, wait, can you go back? I'm sorry, I got distracted for 1 second. I apologize.
Back here?
Yeah, to the point you were making in that last point, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah. So this user story here says that we calculate the expected value, the black bar. I should provide a screenshot here actually, like this. So the expected value for one broadcast is just the sum of all amounts divided by the number of all broadcasts.
Okay.
And this has the disadvantage that it favors, it treats recently created broadcasts the same as broadcasts that are longer, that have been longer in the database. And obviously, broadcasts that have been longer in the database had more, many more opportunities to receive some positive votes.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the idea is of this user feature is to put that into the formula. Something like, okay, the expected value for one broadcast is the number of votes for one broadcast. We know that. We know how many people have seen that broadcast already. Times times the sum of all amounts divided by the number of all votes. So we don't divide by the number of broadcasts, but by the number of all votes, the total amount of votes. Hopefully that would make it a little bit more fair for recently created broadcasts. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'd want to look at it, right, obviously, before you deploy it, just to see if the graph looks like you were expecting.
Yeah. So that is a new user story.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, and I think all the other user stories have been there before also already. This could be a nice and easy one. If you're on mobile, it would be nice to have those two buttons on the same row.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I mean, any questions regarding the rest of the user stories? I mean, there are many.
No, I think that's good. You certainly don't have to go through all of them. And if I have some free time, I'm going to take a look. But I might not have any this week because I'm right in the middle of this Jitsi thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just good. It's good probably just to do the first meeting online, and maybe next week some more people will come and.
Yeah, if you find something that's not self-explaining. So, for example, I think this one is not self-explaining at all.
Yeah, it needs a picture, maybe, like you said.
Yeah. So if you come across that, I would actually really appreciate if you could write something like, I just don't understand that one.
Yeah.
I talked to you already. I really consider the feedback from our developers. So, I mean, this is the first time I'm doing this. I'm building this community, and it's hard for me to write user stories that are self-explaining, right? So, if you could help me with this one and just saying that I don't understand that one, it would actually give me some input, something to improve, right?
Yeah, and actually, like, you don't mention which screen. I mean, you should have a picture and probably give a link to the screen.
Yeah, right.
Because if you're not familiar with the app, real familiar with it, you're not maybe even going to know where to look.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. How do you do the Scrum meetings? So you do the Scrum meeting. What have I done? What I'm going to do? Where are the blockers? Then you go through the stack of user stories or the board,
Right.
and then
And that's usually about it.
okay.
And just make sure nobody's stuck. And there's actually a little bit more elaborate system if you want to get into, like for any project that I or Sam runs, we vote on every story. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And until something's voted on,
Mm-hmm.
You can't really try to then it moves into the ready column where you can assign yourself to it.
Oh yeah, I see.
But
So
that just provides a time, I think, more importantly than getting a number and doing like velocity. It actually gives you time to discuss the issue in a group.
yeah.
And make sure it's clear.
Yeah. So you're using a board like this one here. Is that correct?
Yeah, usually now we tend to use Waffle because it allows you to assign points.
Yeah. So I'm using, it's just a suggestion. I'm happy to use Waffle as well.
Yeah.
I'm using this browser plugin called ZenHub.
Oh, I'm sure that's probably got a similar.
Yeah. So this browser plugin adds some features to GitHub, which is, for example, a burn down chart. Maybe it's a little bit difficult to see here. So it adds a burn down chart, and it adds this board here, so I can drag things around, right?
That's exactly what we do in Waffle. So this looks like it could serve the exact same purpose. Yeah. If you want.
And you can also make an estimation, right? So this is an estimation in points. It's not easy, medium, or difficult. It's I think this the points refer to working hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do the same thing here as well. It's just a suggestion. I like ZenHub honestly because it has no context switch. However, we have to agree on using it, right?
Right. It might be better than Waffle probably, but we're just used to Waffle right now. And also, one more thing I mentioned is as part of Agile Ventures, they've written this thing called Async Voter.
Yeah.
Where in the channel you do a slash command and vote, and then people can vote either 1, 2, or 3 or abstain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way we do our voting on the issues. But like I said, that's all up to you. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah. It has both advantages and disadvantages. I really like to have all this in GitHub. I really dislike the fact that if two people look on the same website, get a link to the website, they see different things. If you don't have the browser plugin, you wouldn't see this tab here, and you wouldn't see this tab here. And also you don't see the estimation here. Like you can actually see it. So if I refresh the page, the first thing is plain GitHub, and then ZenHub, this browser plugin adds the rest to this. So
maybe that's something to think about if you want people to install the plugin if they work on your project, or it's
okay. I think
they're all just things to think about. I think nothing.
Yeah. I think we can start off maybe and say, hey, please add or please install this browser plugin if you want to see the estimations. I think it is we could start with that. What do you think? is it okay to ask it from people who want to contribute?
Yeah, I think that would be fine. I mean, it doesn't load on every project, right? It would just be on yours. So in other words, it's fairly lightweight. The plugin.
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Good experiences so far with this one.
Oh, good.
Yeah, maybe I should put that into the contribution guidelines.
Into the contribution or the README or wherever you think it goes, and the little instruction on how to install it, and I'll do it. And
yeah, maybe put it somewhere here. Yeah, add that help browser plugin. Great. Yes, thank you. I didn't. I forgot that. I'm using it, and I'm sometimes
forgot that other people don't have it. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Cool.
Well, that's almost half an hour, so
yeah,
I'm pretty happy with. Maybe next week we can advertise it a little bit, and it'll go into Sam's morning. In the general channel, he puts all the events for the day.
Mm-hmm.
It'll go in there, and hopefully people will see it. And the other two guys maybe that you're talking with, hope if it's not a good time, you can change it, because I'm pretty open.
We have problems regarding the time zone, because India, Europe, and the US, they are all in different, very different time zones. But yeah, we'll find a way.
Yeah.
And you told me you were also in Boston, and you just get up very early. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. So early is good for me, but anytime's fine. I might be starting a new job this week, so we'll have to see.
Darko told me he's working on a full-time job, and he would prefer to have it in the evening. And evening means if that's after 6 p.m. Eastern time, that would be, for example, midnight for me.
Right.
For me, it's still okay. We can do that. Usually I'm going to bed at 1 a.m. maybe.
Oh, okay.
So that would be a Scrum meeting just before I go to bed, which is still okay for me.
Yeah, so maybe you want to do a little poll or something, and next week we can. Anytime should be okay with me, So. But, that sounds good.
I'll make the doodle. Yes, that was a very valuable, very nice Scrum meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Half an hour. Perfect. Okay. We'll see you. Thank you.
Bye.